I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This one's wife. Sell Todger cream. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Yes, a number of you felt some degree of trauma last year when you had to deal with the fact that Harry had an obsession with talking about his penis in spare, which culminated in him providing us with the revelation, not that anybody wanted it, of him rubbing Elizabeth Arden cream into his Todger and it reminding him of his mother. A rather sordid tale indeed. This has resulted in him being regularly ribbed for his penis obsession and, of course, various mentions being made of the fact that he rubbed the cream in down there. Well, it's come back to haunt him once again. Geo News, through the enigmatically named web desk, tells us, this one's wife asked to introduce Todger cream after Harry shame. This one's wife should use her new lifestyle brand to sell creams inspired by Prince Harry's famous Todger problems. The Duchess of Sussex, who launched American Riviera Orchard this year, is told to advertise products that are a little bit out there. Guardian columnist Awa Mawadi wrote, I suggest this one's wife pull a Paltrow and ensure the products she sells are just a little bit out there. I'm not sure Goop would have been quite so successful had it not been for headline-generating offerings such as vampire repellent and vagina candles. Mardwi added, Paltrow has the vagina market covered, but considering Harry's propensity for talking about his nether regions, this one's wife could always launch cream for frostbitten Todgers. This one's wife left the royal family back in 2020 alongside husband Prince Harry and son Prince Archie. The couple later accused the royal family of showcasing racism towards their son and publicly shared their grievances on television. Harry and this one's wife now live in California, where they also welcomed their daughter, Princess Lilibet. Now, as we know, American Riviera Orchard really needs some help. As I've explained elsewhere, its number of followers is nowhere near at the level it ought to be, considering the international fame that this one's wife has. She has not collected the A-listers by way of support that might also have an amplifying effect of what she puts out on her Instagram page. It's not been looking particularly good, and therefore it would make perfect sense for this for this one's wife to move into the field of leaving Paltrow to cover the vaginas and allow her to cover the Todgers. After all, we do know that as a consequence of lashings of spicy poontang, this one's wife has particular expertise in the penis industry. After all, she's been banged more times than a teenager's snooze button. And utilising this experience, given the fact that she's been cocked more times than John Wayne's rifle and been rattled more times than a beggar's tin, she's bound to have plenty of experience that she could utilise to get this niche for American Riviera Orchard. After all, given the fact that she's had more pricks than a pincushion and been shot over more times than Baghdad, she has a familiarity with the male member, which is better than many other individuals. She's seen more helmets than Hitler and been pumped more times than Arnold Schwarzenegger's shotgun, which gives her a level of insight that would really enable her to be a market leader. Having been rattled more times than Banks's spray can and having dropped more boxers than Mike Tyson, she's bound to be able to channel this expertise into a winning formula for her. And after all, having been rogered more times than a policeman's radio, she really has to be the front runner for understanding the male member. And one can see, for instance, that she might develop her own cream in conjunction with Harry and have a range for them. For instance, the Happy Helmet, or the Blossoming Bell End, or the merry mushroom. One can envisage that there would be a range of creams utilised for soothing, perhaps, the more arduous aspects of what a penis has to do. Now, of course, once again, GOTV has joined many others in offering an April Fool's Day prank, but it shows once again who is the target of this. This one's wife and Harry, that they're regarded as a pair of fuckwits that are there to be having the piss taken out of them. This article naturally recognises that American Riviera Orchard isn't actually doing anything, and that it's likely to be a failure. And therefore, picking up on that and ridiculing it, it also takes the revelation that had been made by Harry some time ago about rubbing Elizabeth Arden cream into his Todger, and therefore utilising that with a particular product line for American Riviera Orchard. You notice that whilst people laugh about Gwyneth Paltrow, she is at least successful. And you'll notice that Martha Stewart doesn't attract this level of ridicule. The Flamingo Estate doesn't attract this level of ridicule, but this one's wife does. And this is why it's a particular problem for her. Because notwithstanding the fact that these are April Fool's jokes, it demonstrates something. It demonstrates that people simply don't take her seriously. They simply see her as a fool and a failure. An individual who has been afforded a glorious opportunity and has completely messed it up. And now it's complete open season on them. You wouldn't see this level of ridicule directed at King Charles. He has his faults, of course he does. And there's aspects of his behaviour that would merit some lampooning. But it doesn't happen as often as it does to this one's wife and Harry, because in the eyes of the majority of the public, they are seen as a couple of buffoons. He being led by the nose or something else in relation to this one's wife, and her as an unpleasant, ungrateful, grasping narcissist. But the sum total of all of this is that they find themselves being ridiculed time and time again. And she is never going to be able to dig herself out of this mess of her own doing. As you know, she can't see that it's her fault, which is why she keeps on trying to prove to the world that she should be a serious player. And the world just shakes its head and laughs and says, "But you're not. You're a clown. You and your husband are a pair of idiots, and we will continue to take the piss out of you because it's so easy." Because the more that you try and convince us that you should be taken seriously, the more that you actually convince us that we're right all along, that you are a pair of fuckwits. And this is the problem that this one's wife has. The more she tries to tell the world that she should be taken seriously, the more the world agrees, actually, we shouldn't, and we'll just continue to ridicule you. And thus, rather than retreat and stay quiet, she keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, which is why ultimately she will be the one that places herself into oblivion and obscurity. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.